All right, let's talk about something I think we can all relate to, at least a little bit. That feeling when your entire future seems to hinge on just one thing, one single project. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today with a story called The Last Mile Project. So I want you to put yourself in this situation for a second. You're in your final year of college, right? And everything you've worked for, it all comes down to this one project. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about getting a good grade. Nope. This project is your only ticket out, your only chance at a better life. For the 5 students in our story, this isn't a hypothetical. This is their reality. And the big question is, are they going to make it? So, what is this project exactly? The one that's got their entire future riding on it? Well, it's way more than just some final assignment. You got to think of it more like a bridge. And not a sturdy one either. We're talking about a really fragile bridge stretched out over some pretty dangerous waters. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? For these students, this project is literally their lifeline. It's the one real, tangible thing connecting the world of their education to the professional world they are so desperate to get into. I mean, it's their proof of concept, their resume, and all their hope all rolled up into one. Now, it's important to understand where this is all happening. We're not talking about some fancy elite university with endless resources. No way. The setting here is a mid-tier engineering college, kind of on the outskirts of a small district in India. This is not a world of privilege or easy connections. It's a world where you have to fight, and I mean really fight, for every single opportunity. Okay, so at the center of this whole thing, you've got 5 students. They're forced to come together really out of sheer necessity. The story calls them a fragile coalition, which is perfect. They're all united by this one goal, sure, but each of them is carrying their own massive personal burdens. So, let's meet them. First up, we have Amit. He's the pragmatic one, super grounded. He's the son of a landless farmer, so he knows exactly what kind of pressure he's under. For a guy like Amit, failure, it's just not an option. Next, there's Nisha. She is incredibly sharp, a first-generation student, the first in her whole family to make it this far. But on top of all the schoolwork, she's trying to balance everything with the constant worry and the cost of taking care of her chronically ill mom. You can just imagine the pressure she's feeling. Then you've got Sajid, who brings a whole other dynamic to the group. He's really resourceful, a quick thinker, but he's also dealing with this cloud of communal suspicion, which just adds this whole other layer of difficulty to pretty much every single thing he does, both on and off campus. And then there's Deepa. She is a brilliant coder. I mean, you could argue she's the most technically skilled person in the whole group. And yet, she's constantly having to prove herself, fighting against this absolutely crushing weight of caste bias. And rounding out the group, we have Rajan. He comes from a family of artisans, and what he brings is so important, a dose of optimism. He's the one who believes that things can actually work out, even when it feels like everything is completely falling apart around them. So you have this fragile coalition, but you have to understand, they aren't just fighting to finish a tough engineering project. No, as we're about to see, they're going up against an entire system that's just loaded with obstacles. I mean, just look at what's stacked against them. It's not one or two things. It's a whole obstacle course. You've got the expectation of doing unpaid work, placement officers who honestly couldn't care less, biased recruiters, and all of this is going on while, back home, urgent family crises are blowing up. It's just relentless. You know, the book puts it in this really chilling, perfect way. It just says, the road to completion is littered. That really paints a picture, doesn't it? A journey where every single step forward is just dangerous. So, with all of that working against them, how in the world do they fight back? Well, it all boils down to 2 things, really: grit and improvisation. And this right here is where we get to the real core of the story. It kind of takes on that classic idea of individual grit, the whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps thing. And it says, that's not enough. In fact, it has some pretty profound limits. What these students end up discovering is something else entirely: the surprising, amazing power of collective improvisation, of thinking on their feet together and actually relying on each other. So what does their strategy actually look like? Well, it's got a few different parts. Part 1, of course, is designing the actual engineering prototype. That's a given. But just as important is part 2. They have to use their local networks to scrounge up resources and get support. And maybe the most important part of all, They have to figure out how to survive the absolutely brutal placement season as a team. And that really brings us to what this whole story is about. Because, you see, it was never really just about an engineering project. The human stakes, that's what defines this entire journey. So, what are the big takeaways from this whole ordeal? What did they learn? Well, for one, they learned the hard way about the limits of trying to do everything yourself. They discovered that incredible power that comes from working together. They had to face these tough moral choices that really tested who they were. And they learned to celebrate the small wins, those little technical victories that were just enough to keep hope alive. When you boil it all down, this is a story about a fight. It's a fight between a broken system and the power of a few individuals. And it really makes you think about the real human cost of that final, desperate push to the finish line, especially in a world that just wasn't built for you to succeed in the first place. And that leaves us with a pretty big, thought-provoking question to chew on. It's not just about what it takes to finish a project. The real question is, when the whole system is broken, what does it actually take to win? And for that matter, what does winning even look like?